Hello, I'm Cynthia Nivyawandi and welcome to the African News Network. Today, we go into a special report on the escalating famine crisis in Sudan. Picture this, nearly 5 million people on the edge of famine as Sudan's civil war hits the one-year mark. It's a grim reality for the people of Sudan. Aid officials are sounding alarm bells, citing looting of aid and blockades hindering assistance to areas where starvation is widespread. Yet, in the thick of this world's largest hunger crisis, the rest of the world seems to be looking the other way. Sudan descended into chaos once again in April of last year, when civil war erupted anew. This time, it was a power struggle between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid forces, each vying for control of the country. The conflict has been brutal and unrelenting, with both sides engaging in widespread violence and human rights abuses. Entire villages have been razed to the ground and countless lives have been lost. Let's zoom in a bit, shall we? In some parts of Sudan, things are so dire that people are resorting to eating soil just to survive. Yes, you heard me right, soil. Take the Al-Lait refugee camp, one of a cluster of 13 refugee camps in a remote area of North Darfur, for example. Families are digging holes in the ground, scooping up dirt and swallowing it down with water. The original occupants of these camps are South Sudanese refugees who escaped conflict and famine in their homeland. However, in recent times, they have been joined by a wave of Sudanese internally displaced persons fleeing the ongoing violence. Faisal Mohammed, a dedicated member of the Sahari Organization for Development, a local aid group, expressed disbelief when he first heard reports of people resorting to eating soil for sustenance. However, upon witnessing the dire conditions firsthand across multiple camps, he came to understand the desperation driving such extreme measures. When hunger gnaws at your stomach, people will do whatever it takes to fill the void, Mohammed explained. Children who've been eating soil have been vomiting and getting diarrhea, multiple residents have said. In Khartoum's middle-class neighborhoods, hunger and fear grip residents caught between the military and the RSF. Despite efforts, food aid drops by the army failed to make an impact, with packages often shattered and contents mixed with dust. Fatima Hassan shares how families unable to rely on aid resort to extreme measures, skipping meals to feed their children. Boiled tree leaves like mango, lemon, and guava become a last resort, chosen carefully to avoid poisonous varieties. A heartbreaking last resort to make it through another day. The civil war, it's ravaging the land, destroying crops, and forcing families to flee for their lives. The war has also had devastating consequences for the country's economy and infrastructure, further exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Once, the camp's residents thrived on farming, earning a share of the crop, and relying on aid from the World Food Programme. But as conflict engulfed the region, with humanitarian aid looted or blocked and farmers struggling to sustain their livelihoods amidst rising costs and dwindling resources, the looming threat of famine hangs on the nation. In mid-April, a glimmer of hope arrived in the form of 8 aid trucks from the World Food Programme packed with cereals, oil, and flour. However, it proved insufficient to stem the tide of malnutrition and disease that continues to claim lives. Findings from a recent survey conducted by Doctors Without Borders shed light on the alarming situation faced by children in the region. Nearly a third of children under 5 are acutely malnourished, with 8% at risk of death within 3 to 6 weeks without immediate treatment. Despite the international community's rallying efforts for aid, the Sudanese people find themselves trapped between the grim prospects of succumbing to famine or falling victim to violence. Stay connected with the African News Network on our website, mobile app, and our social media platforms.